less than P data end equals 56, 5 data start equals 63 greater than. So here's the question that's been bouncing around hockey circles lately. Should the Toronto Maple Leafs pursue Sam Bennett if he hits the free agent market this offseason? At first glance, it sounds tempting. Bennett has become a playoff wrecking ball with the Florida Panthers. And with Toronto's long-documented playoff struggles, bringing in a guy who thrives in the spring could seem like the move they've been waiting to make. But as with most things in hockey and life, it's not that simple. Less than EP data end equals 1185 data start equals 567 greater than. Let's talk about what Bennett brings to the table. He's having an absolute monster of a playoff run right now, leading the league in goals and reminding everyone exactly why playoff hockey is a different beast. This isn't a one-off either. Since 2022, he's been one of the most productive postseason players in the NHL. You want playoff grit? This guy dishes it out in buckets. Hits, net presence, timely goals. Bennett checks all those boxes. He's exactly the kind of player Leafs GM Brad Treliving has talked about wanting. Gritty, nasty, relentless. And the kicker? Treliving actually drafted him back in Calgary. Less than PIP. Data end equals 1628. Data start equals 1187 greater than. Now imagine Bennett slotted in as the Leafs' number 2 center, especially if Tavares is on the way out or slides down the lineup. He brings edge, experience, and a playoff gear this team has sorely lacked. He might even get top power play minutes in Toronto, something he's been mostly shut out from in Florida. That could bump his regular season numbers closer to the 70-point range, which would certainly soften the blow of his next contract. Less than P data end equals 2243. Start equals 1630 greater than. And here's where things get tricky. That next contract? It's reportedly going to be in the neighborhood of $8 million a year over 8 years if he stays in Florida. If he hits the open market, it might go even higher. That's a massive commitment for a guy who's never cracked 60 points in the regular season and has a physical, wear-and-tear heavy playing style. The Leafs would be paying top dollar for someone whose value is overwhelmingly tied to how he performs in the playoffs. And that's a dicey gamble, in a league where contracts are judged from October to April just as much as they are in May and June. Less than P data end equals 2607 data start equals 2245 greater than. There's also the fit to consider. Bennett has thrived beside players like Matthew Tkachuk and Carter Verhaeghe in Florida, guys who complement his bruising, chaotic style. Toronto has stars, sure, but there's no guarantee that chemistry translates. He'd face tougher matchups, more pressure, and far less shelter in the Leafs lineup than he's gotten in Florida. Less than SEEP data end equals 3263 data. Is last node equals data is only node equals data start equals 2609 greater than. So, should the Leafs go for it? I mean, I get why they'd be tempted. He's the embodiment of playoff DNA, and they're desperate for that. But unless he's willing to come at a number that makes sense long term, and unless they truly believe he can thrive without the Florida ecosystem, the risk might just outweigh the reward. As much as I love the idea of what he could bring in April and May, that $8 or $9 million price tag could be a heavy anchor by the time the Leafs are still trying to figure out what kind of team they are 3 years from now. If I were running things, I'd pass, but I'd totally understand if Toronto couldn't resist the swing. Stay subscribed for more videos.